So this truck features an option, auto leveling, okay? Now, we're kind of at a good slope here, or a good grade, right? We're at about, on our outrigger screen, it shows us what our slope and grade is, what our side to side and what our front to back is. Our aerials have a safe operating range of 0 to 5 degrees. So right now, I could still operate this aerial. I don't need to jack it up more, but most aerial operators feel a little bit safer when it's fully level, okay? So this truck features auto leveling. Auto leveling is good and bad. The reason I say it's good and bad is because, one, the aerial operator should be the one that controls, that should know how to set the truck up. They shouldn't rely on a computer to tell them your truck is set up properly. What could happen here is that this auto leveling system will essentially jack the truck up to the highest jack. So when you're level and you're on a pretty good easy slope or grade, it works great. But when you're at a steep one like this, what's going to happen is that the truck is going to jack itself all the way up, so that these ladders are now no longer down here, they're more like up here. So it's a little bit harder to get to. These compartments are no longer here, they're all the way up here now. So you don't have to do that. In order to, I'll show you here for a proper setup. If it's just myself, right, I have the wireless remote control, so I can activate my outriggers from back here. You notice that the audible alarm comes on, but it doesn't automatically engage in high idle. That's because I have the wireless remote control activated. As soon as I activate that, hit the enable switch on the wireless remote control, now I can operate the outriggers. On here you can see I have my outrigger systems back here. So I know that my grade is what the problem is, so I can operate my 2 rear outriggers from back here. Now you see here, this is what the auto leveling system is going to do, okay? And what you see, what's happened here, is that the front outriggers have come up. So we have pressure now, right? If I hit this auto level button, what's going to happen is that the truck's going to automatically level itself to its highest jack. So not only is it going to lift up my rears, but it's also going to lift up my fronts, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with this. You can operate the aerial like this, no problem, because we still have, we're at 0 degrees. The only problem is that it gets up a little bit too high, right? Now again, I mentioned Rosenbauer, we have the safe operating range from 0 to 5 degrees. So back where we were, so if I put this rear of this truck down now, back to where we were, still at that 2.5% grade, that's okay. Because again, 0 to 5 degrees is our safe operating range. So it can be at this slight angle. Now what happens here is that when that truck is all the way up like that, what's happening, well, some problems that you can have if you have like air ride suspension in the rear and stuff like that, supposedly Hendrickson and our suspension partners are working on it, but what can happen is it can dump the air, and then it can, the repeated times that you do that, you know, you're wearing those bags and stuff like that. So we always suggest just taking the bulge out of the tires. We don't suggest taking the entire truck off the ground, but there is that option. So auto leveling is going to bring you back to your true level 0 when you don't necessarily have to be, okay? So the only thing you have to make sure is that you're set up heavy enough. So we have these holes here. These holes here are a secondary safety device. They're for pins, okay? These pins here, you do not need to have them in to operate the aerial itself, but from Rosenbauer, we're gonna recommend that you do it. We use the same check valves as all the other aerial manufacturers. The only difference is that when we were designing our jack tubes, they were already going to be hollow. So essentially we were like, why don't we have a secondary safety device that can help us in case we have a catastrophic failure, okay? So those pins are there to make sure that if that jack did leak down, it would be able to have something to stop it and not just go all the way back up. You know what I mean? So the pins are there. We always suggest pinning every time you operate the aerial, but you don't have to in order to operate it, okay? So again, back to our jack screen here. 2.5% grade. We're pretty good on our slope. Always want to try and have at least one hole exposed so that you still can get that pin out. And then we're good there. If you don't feel so comfortable on the 2.5% grade, you can just bring those rears up just a little bit more and then you can operate.